I want to sort of make a bit of a follow-on from another video that I made, whereby basically I explained that there's a lot of people, particularly the younger generation, who have been brought up under, nice living standards before the GFC, and they sort of now are panicking that this is how bad my living standards are, blah blah blah. And that basically they've just got to wake up and come to grips with the circumstances under which they now live. But I want to touch a bit more on that and another aspect of that. Now, these living standards have come about because of, well, the life they experienced prior to the GFC. The standards that the television news may say that no American should live like this or whatever, that the media, society, surrounding friends tell them that they should not have to put up with this level, this standard of living, that they should always have mains power, quite possibly access to an air conditioner, all these sort of, maybe not access to an air conditioner, but all these set things, I've got to have this, I've got to have that. And the way it's sort of viewed is, it's almost like it's viewed as, right, I've got a right to have, a house that's of a certain standard, a certain amount of, square meals a day, blah, blah, blah. But when it sort of gets to things like, I should have a right to have, electricity switched on, boom, 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 they've got all these standards in their mind. And when they don't reach those standards, they worry about it. And then they can lay up at night, worrying about, oh, it's so bad, it's this, it's that, da-da-da. But this is the thing, stress can often causes your immune system to go downhill. I saw it when my uncle was very possessed. He couldn't work out why he had so many stomach troubles and all that. And it was nerves, basically. But all the same, stress is very well proven, and I've experienced it firsthand myself and seen other people experience it. Stress can bugger your immune system up. And, a lot of these ideas they get, this is part of the trouble of the Euro crisis, is that Europeans also have adopted this idea of, we should be entitled to this, we should have living standards of this. If I need this, then the government should provide welfare that's going to pay for my rent and stuff like this. Boom, 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 so on and so forth. And, it's one problem that they haven't woken up to it, but the second problem is that they stress about it. And effectively, I used to worry a lot about, as teenagers do, about being normal and being not looking like a complete bloody dweeb, which I sort of was because I was a computer geek, and all this sort of stuff, and you worry that you don't fit in and all that, all that stuff teenagers go through. But in the end, with a lot of this stuff, I eventually realised, I had an epiphany one day that I used to stress about it, I used to lay awake at night about it, and in the end, I was there one day and the penny dropped, and I thought, you're stressing yourself out. You're the one who's the cause of all your worry. You don't have to worry about this stuff, but you're going to worry about it, and that's why you lose so much sleep. That's why you end up tired, because you're panicked and you're stressed, and you're the one who's been worrying about this. Nobody else has forced you to worry about it. And basically, I felt, I said to myself, why don't you just start bloody well punching yourself in the face, because it's effectively the same thing. You are the one who's destroying yourself with lack of sleep and stress. And that epiphany I had, that sort of woke me up a lot to the fact that my worrying was doing me no good. And it was effectively the same as punching myself in the face. And this is a thing, you know. This is what I'm trying to say to those people, you know, out there who may believe that they've got a standard that they should live by. Don't bother stressing about it, because you're wearing yourself out with worry. You're lowering your immune system. And like I used to worry when, there's a couple of times in previous jobs where I broke things, you know, and I'll be worrying the boss is going to tell me off, and I swear to God, before he'd find out that I broke it, like it might be like a day or two before he found I broke it, and I would literally worry about that, and it would be fourfold the stress. My worrying would be fourfold the stress of the stress I would receive when he actually spat it on. You stupid bastard, you broke that, you effing this, that, blah, blah. Bloody hell, you don't go doing shit like that. My stressing in the previous couple of days before he found out about it would actually be fourfold worse than when he actually blew his stack and told me off. So that's the thing, you know. Yeah. Basically, your worry can be more of a problem than the problem itself. And the other thing is, you know, a lot of people stress out about, oh, but I couldn't live without it. Why couldn't you live without electricity? Well, I've never lived like that before. Yeah, and you actually tried living without electricity? Because my uncle, for about 8 years, did live without electricity. I mean, he had a generator, and then there come a point where his mortgage payments were going up and up, and he just couldn't even afford to fuel the generator up. And so he didn't. And so he lived here with candles. He didn't even have a propane stove. He used to be cooking on the wood fire. And he used to say, oh, I'm living in the Stone Age. But, you know, he was still surviving. He was still getting along. And he would spend a lot of time, you know, stuffing around with firewood, waiting for the wood fire to, you know, heat up whatever he's cooking and whatnot. But it wasn't much of an issue because he was on an invalid pension because of various health problems. But this is the thing, a lot of these people, the fear of what's it going to be like to live with electricity is also worse than when the time comes where they actually do have to live without electricity. The idea of how bad it'll be, when they actually get there, you go, oh, this isn't quite as bad after all. You know, all I've got to do is go somewhere to charge my phone up, and yeah, I've still got a mobile phone. I'll still go to bed warm at night. I still can see what I'm doing. I can even read books at night. And they never knew it wasn't quite as bad as they thought it was, because their mind was conjuring up, worry, 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 it's going to be real bad, it's going to be real bad, it's going to be... And when the time actually comes where they do have to live without electricity, it isn't nowhere near as bad as they expected. So yeah, you know, that's another aspect of it. It's sort of, it's crazy that your head can do your head in more than the reality of when the situation actually hits, and that you can burn yourself out more by your own worry than you can, you know, and this perceived, what are my friends going to think of me? Oh my gosh, I'm going lower than I have ever before. Well, you know, it's the way it is, but don't let your worry wear you out with all this stuff, you know. You know, it's just, it's the way it is, but you got to realise that there's this trick your mind does that can make it worse. I had one bloke there whinging and complaining to me that his name was Tim. Oh, you know, out of Scrooge, little Tiny Tim, out of that, you know, the Scrooge story. And, you know, little Timmy, and oh, people look down on me because my name's Tim, and oh, my name's hard because my Tim. Effing hell, my name is what my username is on YouTube. Yes, my name is actually LINK space KNIGHT. You know how many times I've gone in and they've had it stuffed up and put me blooming first name as my surname on forms? A million times up, but I'm not whinging about it. And this bloke reckoned he had it hard because his name was Tim. I felt like, I didn't say it, but I should have gone, are you shitting me? You know what my name is? And you're bitching about, what, Tim? Well, how many million people are called Tim? Get over yourself. Like, and this is the whole thing. Here he was worrying about his name being Tim. God blimey, people can worry about some crap, I tell you. But don't you let, things worry you based on the way you think it should be, because it ain't. China's rising up, and as they're rising up, it's like a wave. As the wave's rising up, all the other water sucks in the front of the wave. If you've ever been surfing and stuff like that, you'll know that as the wave comes up, the water below the wave is literally dry. And as China's rising up, everybody else is getting sucked dry. Just like the water surrounding the wave, right? It's the way it is. But hopefully they'll go the same way as Japan did eventually, where their currency is also worth a lot. And then they aren't as competitive in the future as they are at the moment. But, there's nothing worse than lying to yourself. And there's nothing worse than misconstruing the situation that you're under, which will happen by lying to yourself.